What's up everyone, Seth Miranda here. This is Adorama Rewind, and this is the second to last rewind of the year. That means next week we're saying goodbye to 2019 and into 2020, which I think is going to be a pretty exciting year for gear releases, shifts in the industry, changes in technology, and so on. But this week is very short and concise, but it is very, very important. There's some crazy things in here, especially if you're a freelancer, an IC, independent contractor, photojournalist in California. And if this affects California, it could easily spread into other areas. So the National Press Photographer Association is suing California over a law that forces freelancers to become employees. This is a huge deal. Pretty much we're looking at limitations of you have up to 35 submissions or assignments per year for any single client as a still photographer before they have to make you an employee. And for video journalists, there is no IC, there is no independent contracting. You have to be an employee to work for them and submit video or footage to them as a client, a media outlet, however you see fit. This is a really huge deal because you're not going to survive over 35 submissions or assignments per year. And if you're a freelancer, you work off of relationships. You work steadily with a client for the whole year. They call you in when they need you. And the second you go over that limit, they have to make you an employee. So what's the problem with being an employee? Well, the benefits are you get to have minimum wage, some sick leave, benefits, all sorts of things like that. But you lose out on a bunch of income because as an employee, they own the copyright to your images. Or video in this case as well, because there is no freelancer status for videographers in California if this stays the way it is. This is insane because a lot of photojournalists make money off of royalties, licensing, pushing the image around to various places. You own the image rights as an IC, an independent contractor, which is what I work as heavily here in New York. But in California, they're saying that if you go over 35 submissions for a client, you have to be an employee, and thus anything going forward they own. I'm wondering if there's going to be some like handshake type deals, some back end type things to keep relationships going, if they're really going to stick to this on a social level and not legal. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but things like that happen in this industry all the time. Copyright is everything, right? So especially in a world where we're just pushing around images, ones and zeros all over the place, and it's going to affect a lot of people, and photojournalists live off of their images. So let me know if this affects you down below. If you're in California and this is something you're looking at, the lawsuit isn't really about money. They're really just trying to get the bill to, or the law, I should say, to change that and get rid of the 35 submission limitation and allowing for videographers to be ICs. Wow. So yeah, this is kind of crazy. And it kind of affects people in the middle of their career or at the tail end of their career. Who knows? Like, you went into this with an idea of how the industry works, and now it's being flipped on its head. I can't even imagine what those people are going through with this kind of stipulation. So, or maybe the minimum wage is just good enough for a lot of them to live, but they're actually saying it's about 60 to 75% of their income is going to be affected by this. That's just what I'm reading around the boards and from hearing face to face from people I know. I don't know. Let me know down below. So speaking of image rights, 500px has updated the terms of service, but they actually kind of didn't update it. It's kind of crazy. Let's get into this really quick. So a lot of people freaked out by this. 500px or 500px has put out their new terms of service for people, and a lot of well-known photographers on that platform are taking snippets of it to let people know what it's really saying, which is what should have been done a long time ago, because this is basically the same terms of service that you see here. Instagram, it's pretty standard when it comes to social platforms, especially if on this platform you click license photo so you can make some money off of it. What is happening here? So the terms of service is basically saying, hey, if you upload your image, we kind of can do whatever we want with that content. We can share it around, license it, we can alter it, we can do whatever we want with it because you basically put it on our platform. And that is standard for all this kind of stuff. What people are freaking out over is just reading it now, because it used to take two different terms of services. If you license the photo for money, it would give you that warning on the TOS on that one. What they did was just smash them together, rearrange it, and that's what it's saying. So is this something new? No, it's not. I just said it's been on Instagram's TOS forever, and a lot of people don't read the terms of service when it's on a huge platform because they just think, well, if everyone else is on there, it's got to be okay. But you really are building your house in somebody else's backyard, and if they want to turn off the hose on you, they can. So watch yourself out there. Even watch yourself with putting your images on your own website if you're doing it through a template service, because they might actually own the ability to do whatever they want with those images as well. It's crazy, but this is what exists now, and I'm the first one to say we have to keep our rights to our images, and that's how we make a living. I've made a living off of my images for the last 2 decades in this industry. I totally understand that. But if you're uploading to a platform, the trade-off is you're getting exposure to already built-in eyeballs on that platform. Their audience is right there waiting for you. So that's what you're kind of giving up for them being able to do whatever they want to do with those images. Having said that, I highly doubt any platform that's for the creator will rip people off and then deal with the aftermath of a ton of creators yelling at them over not, or articles pop all the time like, should they get paid if they use this their Instagram post? The platform themselves usually isn't the culprit. It's somebody else that takes it, and that's where we see these issues popping up. That being said, nothing's stopping them from doing it if they wanted to on a legal level. So watch yourself out there. We have to protect ourselves in this industry. We have to protect what we're creating out there. We're creating more content than before, and that means way more loopholes and sketchy things happening out there. You have to realize what these platforms really are. You can't just put your stuff out there and think that nothing else is going to happen to it. You're putting it out in the wild out there. So just be aware of that. However, don't freak out because this has existed for a while. Don't whatever. Let's talk about some crazier news. Fujifilm is saying they will not be at Photokina due to cost effectiveness and launch timing of their new cameras and stuff like that. So they're just basically saying it's not worthwhile for them. They don't know what they're going to be doing for the rest of the year. There's some other trade shows they might not be showing up at. There's other brands not showing up at Photokina like Nikon. I went to the last Photokina, the last big Photokina last year, and it was awesome, but now they changed it. Instead of it being every 2 years, it's every year. It's smaller, it's a different place. I don't know what they're doing with it, but trade shows in general are taking a huge hit, and because of that, now we're seeing the vendors take action on saving money on it. It's a lot of money to go to those venues to get a booth, to pay to have a booth built, to have interactive things going on at the booth for the public to come in, pay people to be there, design, all sorts of stuff. So I totally understand that. It's just kind of a bit of a message. I'm wondering if we're going to go through an era of companies getting away from trade shows and then they're looking for something new to do in a couple of years and boom, we're back to trade shows. That stuff happens. I mean, film is coming back. People still buying records. Who knows what's going on anymore? All right, if you own a Nikon Z6 or Z7, the update for ProRes RAW upgrade is available, as well as the CF Express update. So, by the way, before I get into this, you see this image with the rainbow? Just so you know, Nikon, I shot this over a year and a half ago. So, and I shot that with a Nikon. Just saying, just want to throw that out there. Anyway, I know I'm being petty. For $200, you send your Z6 or Z7 to Nikon, and it can be outfitted with whatever they need to do with it to do ProRes RAW and 12-bit color outboard to an Adamus recorder. This is kind of nuts. We didn't know it was going to cost money till a few months ago when they announced that they were able to do a firmware update for this. We didn't know that the ProRes RAW upgrade would cost an additional $200. That being said, for a camera to do this with this low of a price point for the camera plus the upgrade is still kind of great. This is a little bit of a sucker punch. I get that, and I understand people being upset about it. The CF Express has a caveat as well. So for right now, it's only working with Sony branded CF Express cards. It can still use XQD cards. If you have a Z6 or Z7, this firmware update still allows for backwards compatibility to XQD. It's the same physical interface. It keeps the protocol, but now you're able to use CF Express, which I think is going to be the memory that takes off for the future here. Be aware of that. They will be releasing firmware update as they certify each brand's card, and they're flooding the market fast. So I don't think it'll be too long, but if you have a Nikon Z6 or Z7, these updates are available. Read the firmware update before you do it. See if you really want to upgrade to it. There might be some things in there that you didn't want fixed or whatever. I don't know. Firmwares are weird, and this one is a big shift over. So check out the Nikon link I put down below. And if you do want to get this firmware update with the ProRes RAW, it is a 3-day turnaround. Just be aware of that. You're not going to have a camera for 3 days. All right, let's go back to some platforms. The Flickr CEO is saying publicly that they're in trouble, and they're basically going to have to raise the price of the Pro membership, which is kind of like, what are you doing? There's a lot of money lost in there. Yahoo sold to SmugMug. There's all sorts of things going on with Flickr. Some people still love it. Some people totally abandon it. And trying to get people in the door for it, they're offering a 25% discount for the the profile there. So let me know if that even appeals to you. I'm curious, but this sounds like flailing desperation a little bit. Let's get into some Leica news. So Leica has released these white and ghost editions of the M10 and M10P, and they're about, let me go, there we go. And they're 15 Gs. They're collector's editions. They're only gonna be in limited quantities, and people buy these really just to shelve them and say that they have them. I myself am a fan of the monochrome stealth edition. It started out at 15 grand, and I'm looking at them at eBay for $48,000. These go beyond just being a camera. They go on to be a collector's piece. They're just super well built. They've always been like that. They're Ferrari. You know, people buy their jackets and don't own the car. It's the same kind of concept to me. However, Photographer has just reported this. If you want to get a Leica, they are throwing a 25% import tax on anything coming from Germany. Leica themselves have increased their prices by 10% and will take the hit of 15% so that they don't raise their prices 25%, which Leicas, we already know, are very pricey cameras. Super high quality, but definitely have a hefty price tag on them. They are collector pieces. They are, you know, they're beyond the camera in my opinion, and if you've ever shot with one, you know how special the images coming out of them are, especially the glass that's in those lenses is absolutely amazing. So be aware of that. If you're looking to buy a Leica, you might want to do it before the end of the year, which is now. So look out for that. And I just wanted to put this one up for just something to munch on. This is a process of preserving 200-year-old photographs, the daguerreotypes. Watch this video, it's pretty interesting. It was coming from the Museum of Modern Art right here in NYC. So I have a heart for this article. I just wanted you guys to check that out. It's just cool to dial it back and look at what people are doing to preserve the history of what we're doing now. 200-year-old photograph. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there for the news. And like I said last week, I'm gonna start doing shout out of the week. I used to go toe to toe with some people talking some junk down in the comments if it was logical and just kind of ridiculous at the same time. Instead of focusing on the negative, I'm going to focus on the positive, and I'm gonna be giving shout outs to you guys. So every week I'm gonna pick someone that's been a positive member of the Adorama community, been in those comments, answering other people's comments, jumping on the live streams, being active in the chat, sharing things around, all sorts of stuff. This one's going out to the one and only Patty Mates, who does some really great pet portraits, but not only are they pet portraits, she's helping getting these animals adopted, getting them some good homes. And I think that's awesome. And every time she pops on, there she is right there wearing my shirt and Daniel's shirt. Every time she pops on, she gives me stories about how she got some dog home, or how she learned something from one of the live streams right here at Adorama to learn a lighting technique to help her shoot, or if she got stuck on something, she jumps in a chat, and me, Vanessa, Daniel, whatever Adorama host is around, we try to answer. So Patty Mates, go check her out, especially if you like pet portraits. She finds some of the most adorable pets ever, and especially if you're someone that is trying to help out animals find homes, she's a great person to connect with. So Patty Mates, thanks for being part of the Adorama TV community, and I hope this helps you out. I'm going to be doing a shout out of the week every week next year. This is just the start. Last week's Robbie Keane, this week's Patty Mates. I got one more for 2019, and then I'm going to be doing them for 2020. So let's stay active in that community. Respond to other people's comments. Read what the comments are. And if you think something is a little misinformation, go ahead and try to correct them a little bit. Or if you're psyched on something that we did out there, let us know in the comments so we know where we're steering our content for you guys. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you're having problems with, what gear you're interested in. We need to know this kind of stuff. If you guys want, I started my own Twitch channel to help build a community there as well, twitch.tv/lastxwitness. I'd be happy to engage with you guys there for live Q&As, and I kind of let people submit images and we talk about them. It's been a really great experience. I'm hyped up on community. I really think that's where it's at. There's a ton of information out there, but not a lot of wisdom. And I think a lot of viewpoints and perspectives can really help everyone out there elevate their game. And that's all we can do is focus on ourselves. The gear comes second. I know this is a retailer, but I do have to tell you, I do believe in bettering ourselves and then figuring out what tools we need in the hands that we became skilled with. That being said, check out the rest of Adorama TV. There's plenty of stuff for you guys to learn right here on this platform. Rewind has been going on for a year. If you just found it now, welcome. But if you want to help us out, hit the subscribe button, share this video around, hit like, write me down in the comments. And the question of the week is I'm going to dial it back to the TOS debate. How many of you guys actually read those TOS agreements? Have you ever looked at a social platform and it said, we own your images or we have the ability to share them around? You said, nope. If you aren't into the idea of another platform doing whatever they want with your images, don't sign into it. And if people voice out about that, moving forward, we'll see these platforms becoming less and less powerful with the billions of people on it. People that shoot just pictures of their friends or selfies might not care about these image rights things, but people that are using them as portfolio pieces, it might affect you heavily, okay? All right, guys, I will see you next week for the last Rewind of 2019. Wow, is that crazy or what, huh? Thanks so much for being supportive of this. Check out Patty Mates' profile. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. This has happened all over the place, especially with iTunes. Remember that whole thing? People didn't read the agreement and everyone freaked out. South Park did a whole episode on the centipede. Did anybody see that? Am I just totally shooting in the dark here? Cuttlefish or the vanilla paste? Vanilla paste. Anybody? Nothing? Okay, anyway, I'm digressing here.